Here we are.
Hello guys, we are live today for Carnivore Team GB, session number, I don't know, but we're giving you a lot of value for sure, so if you do have any super chats to give us, any super stickers, please put them through in the chat. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you do have, but for now we're going to start off just with the round table discussion. We may be joined by some of the other gentlemen at some point soon, who knows. We're all quite busy this week. We've got presentations to look after and lots of stuff to prepare for the Carnival Conference UK, which I must remind you is this weekend. It's not too late to get tickets if you want to turn up on the day, have a look around, see what's going on. There'll be a few exhibitors, local farms, there'll be us, everyone that you see on the screen right now. You see Richard, Sylvia, you'll see, who else do you see? Phil, Ben, Heather. I'm missing, so Dr. Sarah Pugh will be there, I can't remember. Dr. Abs will be there.
Yep.
So we've got an all-star. Dr. Chafee will definitely be there.
On Zoom? On Zoom.
Yes, that'll work just fine, I think. Be hard to give him a hug or a handshake, but we can digital air high five what it's worth. But yeah. We're just going to chat about that for now. But maybe if we just start going around the panel, starting with Stephen, go to Lee, then go to me. After I've given my 2 cents, I'm going to pop off because I've got quite a bit to do at the moment. But we'll just ask Stephen just give a brief explanation of what he's going to be talking about at the Carnivore Conference UK, and provide some valuable insights into what he wants to bring forth to the table, anything new he might be talking about. And if you want to go meet him, of course, go up to him, say hello. He's a friendly bloke. Go see him, chat to him, shake his hand, and see him firsthand. And you'll see he is not a 50, 60-something plus year old bloke. When you actually look at him, you'll be quite surprised. He looks a lot younger than what he is. And I'm delighted today he's actually moved his microphone a few inches down so you can see his beautiful, lovely face with a blue, lovely contrasting themed backdrop. So, Stephen, I'll pass the floor to you.
Yeah. Right. Well, what will I be speaking about? I'm bringing forth to the table, as you said, Jonathan. My presentation is about success stories, but in the context of how those success stories were blood tests that were misinterpreted, people giving you the wrong advice to get you well. I will be talking about I hate the word literally, but literally they were told by their doctor they had 2 weeks to live. 2 weeks to live, 5% kidney function. I will be talking about a person whose partner went carnivore and reversed all their diseases, and her son reversed all his diseases, but she still didn't believe it. And it took getting to a kidney transplant for her to still not believe it until after the kidney transplant things went wrong. So I think that's what I want to get across, is that don't try to tell everyone else how good it is, because they will eventually come to you. But of course, the reason you want to tell everyone is to stop your loved ones ending up in transplants or, in hospital. So it's hopefully going to be in a few stories that will make you think. We will be looking at like the major organs. So we'll be looking at thyroid, and we'll be looking at kidneys, and we'll be looking at liver, fatty liver disease, for instance. Real true life stories with lots of science behind it, but I won't be getting into the science too much. It's more about the misinformation from certain quarters in the healthcare arena, shall I say. For me personally, I'm experimenting with a new camera, as you can see, or a new camera settings. Therefore, I don't know how to make it light up a bit better. So you're just going to have me mystically being lit up and then not lit up. But anyway, by next week, I'll be sorted.
Nice. I'll pass it over to Lee. Lee, what's your... I'm actually very excited to see Lee, because Lee will be the only person on the panel that, other than Dr. Abs, that I've not met, shook hands with. So, Lee, what's your talk on?
I thought you were going to say you're the only one that's... not a professional. You're
the only one here that isn't actually a real life expert on anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. I can play in a good window, mate. I can play in a good window.
Nah, the amount of content you put out, the amount of information you would have to sift through to get what you put in the clips is absurd. So you've probably watched and listened to more podcasts than all of us combined. So it would not surprise me. But you've got some great insights for sure. So tell us about it. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, so I mean, the theme is going to be gut health. So that's my thing, really. Just raising awareness about what works for the gut and what doesn't. And I'll be touching, obviously, on my anecdote, what I can see with my own eyes and the kind of experiments that I've ran in my life and the experience that I've got and things that I've learned along the way. But I'm obviously going to be addressing fiber, plant proteins, indigestible portions of plants that wreak havoc on the gut, because so many people still have absolutely no clue whatsoever about fiber, and most likely many other people there will. But I'm going to touch on all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why I called it digesting the indigestible. that's going to be my thing. So yeah, and just obviously really looking forward to seeing everybody there. I've only ever met one proper carnivore, and that was Dr. Abs. Yeah, as long as I can get there, as long as because I'm not going in my van, I've got a bit of an engine problem. So yeah, I'm going to drive up in my mum's little car with my mum. So yeah, wish me luck with that.
Is the car big enough to withstand and hold a ladder to wash windows?
Oh,
we can get you doing some work on the way, you know, as we sort of go around the colleges and.
Yeah, that'd have been a good job, actually, wouldn't it?
Nice one. Well, I'll just quickly go through what my talk will be. You guys can probably all guess what it's going to be. It's about muscle, strength, fat loss, bone density, a little bit of health stuff. My talk will be slightly different compared to everyone else's, just because the focus of my talk isn't specifically on diet, but I will give some brief sort of outlines of what I think is good and what isn't good. And if you want to get hold of me after it, just grab me after my talk, which will be on the Sunday, guys. I can't remember what time. I want to say around about 11, 12, 2 o'clock, sometime around then, around middle of the day. I've got it written down somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about you cannot outrun a bad diet. So it's all talking about what the optimal dose of training is, what the optimal dose of exercise in general is, how to work that out, how to listen to your body, how to recover properly. Like the guys here, I do have expertise in my field, and I've also got experience in my field as well, having talked about recovering for bodybuilding competitions where your spine snapped up and your hips destroyed and you barely get any sleep and you don't function very well. I can, probably a bit like Lee in some cases, I can understand fully how important it is to recover. So I'm going to teach people a lot about recovery. A lot of people know how to train hard, you know, put some gun to someone's head. You know, you can get anyone to train hard, lift a few more reps, this, that, and the other. But when they're outside of the gym, what are they doing then? How they're recovering, how they're eating. That's what's important. That's what's going to give you most of the results, guys. 85, maybe even 90% of the results. So I'll be talking all about that. There'll be demonstration as well. So I might get Richard or one of the lads up to perform some static isometric contractions for me. Probably sore as hell the next day. I might have to give Richard a break because I know he's quite busy with his exercise and triathlon and running and cycling and swimming and all sorts. So maybe it'll be Lee. Maybe Lee will be put for his tests. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that talk, and we all have our own respective codes. So I don't really mind which one of us you support. It doesn't say anything bad about each person. Just pick someone, and we've all got our own unique codes. So I can't remember the guys, but mine is muscles. I think Stephen's is Stephen. I think Lee's is Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine's Stephen with a PH.
Stephen, as you see it on the screen sometimes, Stephen, and it's also at the top of the screen just where Lee is. That's how you spell it. Mine's just muscles, like these things, all that sort of stuff. I might do a little bit of posing while I'm there, but
yeah, mate, yeah.
We'll see. Pay me enough money, slip a few dimes into my pockets, and maybe I'll do some push-ups as well.
Maybe we should do an ab out. I think my abs.
An ab out. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's going to be a great talk, guys. So please do check it out. And if anyone's wondering what I'm rambling about, the website is carnivoreconference.co.uk. It has been beautifully SEO optimized, which means when you actually type that in, it will turn up in Google. You won't have to search for it through miles and miles of paper. Sheets and things. So carnivoreconference.co.uk. It'll say something like 2024 at the top. Definitely do check that one out. I don't know if Steve wants to check it on the screen, but there's currently 2 days left to book your tickets. There's 200 plus attendees. It's gonna be 10 sessions. It breaks between each one, so you can brainstorm any ideas you have or questions for people after. It's not gonna be one of these things where you turn up, you're stuck, we're all hidden behind a door somewhere. You can't come up to us after. It's going to be a very intimate event, which I do highly value. And it's on the 14th and 15th September this month, coming up in a few days' time. So yeah, you got 3 days left to book it in. There'll be the Keto Pro company, the Real Food company, Mason's Meats, Michael Mason, we've had him before, and the lovely Rachel Brown from British Broth Company coming, I believe. Just checking through the names now. So again, the speakers will be Richard, Dr. Abs, Stephen, Lee, Heather, Phil, me, Ben, and special guest Dr. Chafee, all the way from America. No, sorry, Australia somewhere, I think. And it'll be just around sort of Sheffield-ish area, southwest Sheffield, I might say. Is it never? Yeah, southwest. But yeah, I highly recommend checking that one out. And yeah, so if that's all, guys, I'm going to leave you guys to it to answer any questions that you do have. And the guys will be up here, Stephen and Lee, to both answer the questions. Please leave a queue first, they can easily spot them. Leave some super chats, donate to a good cause. It does go straight back into our YouTube funds, which we invest in software to make videos as palatable, accessible to as many of you as possible. I know Stephen gets a good bit of time and effort into putting captions in, making it visibly readable to people that do have hearing impediments, which is absolutely incredible if you ask me. And Lee puts a lot of effort into his videos as well, trying to balance out sound quality and make it as easy and basic to understand as possible for people to access all the information they need regarding the carnivore diet. But with that being said, I look forward to seeing you there. Again, my code is muscles for the carnivore conference.co.uk. Lee's is Lee, and Stevens is Stevens, as you see at the top right of the screen now. And I'll leave you to it, guys, and enjoy your stream, and hopefully you get lots of good questions.
Awesome. I'll see you soon, mate.
All right.
Thanks, Jonathan. That's good. We can talk about him now.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. I think I'm hosting for a little bit. I don't think it will be a whole hour tonight because there's not many questions. But we could field this one. You could answer if you want, and then I add a little bit if you want from Carlston. What does a healthy gut lining stop from getting into the bloodstream? I've heard aluminium. What else? Do you want to go firstly, or do you want me to have a?
I would say anything that's not supposed to be there. If it's a healthy gut lining, you know, you've got a robust gut wall and there's no permeability because you haven't been consuming these indigestible portions of plants or molecules that travel through the stomach unchanged, then you won't run into those sorts of problems. I'm sure aluminium probably would be one of those things, like lots of fine food particles can slip through leaky guts, all sorts of egregious molecules, heavy metals, microplastics, homogenized dairy molecules and all that kind of stuff. But I would have said, yeah, all sorts. But basically, if you've got a healthy gut, you won't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and that I mean, that's pretty much the answer, isn't it? Harmful pathogens, you know, disease-causing microorganisms is an obvious one, and then you've got endotoxins, which are, you know, they're actually normally released from the outer membrane of bacteria, actually, when they die. And harmful bacteria, and even liposaccharides as well, which again, it's all down to the membrane of sort of bacteria. That's gram-negative bacteria. So it is exactly what Lee said. It's things that shouldn't be in there. That's the whole point of the gut lining. And I suppose the other thing is to say that it keeps things in that should be in there. So when you get leaky gut, and sorry to look at it from the other end of the telescope, if you've got leaky gut and you're not getting all your nutrients going through your small intestine and being properly absorbed, then you'll get nutrient deficiencies. So even people on carnivore will come to it and, you know, they've got leaky gut problems, other issues. And then we do like a blood test because they're maybe feeling fatigued and looking a bit anemic and sleeping a lot. And they could be B12 deficient. And it's not because they're not eating B12, it's because they're not absorbing B12. So it seems like a simple question, but it is actually sort of has lots more to it than just what we said, really, because it's a twofold thing. So I'm trying to get used to having this camera in a different position, and I'm not doing very well. So it was a question, actually, I think I'm going to skip a little bit because, oh no, I'm not going to skip a little bit because it is the next question up. And this from PR1 Assist. I'm having total abdominal surgery on the 23rd of this month. I'm carnivore, including dairy. My question is, how should I prepare for this? Any pre-probiotics should I fast before surgery? And of course, Lee has been through some major surgery, so I'm going to let you answer that one, Lee.
My advice would be to quit the dairy. If you can cut back on the dairy, I would say that you'd probably be in a better position. I would get your food in, eat nutrient dense, if you can, organic, grass-fed, fatty red meat. Eat until you're full, eat every single day, and then fast as much as you need to. I'm sure you've probably been in contact with your surgeon, and he will let you know how long you need to fast for. But I would say I would rather get the nutrition in, and actually communicate with your surgeon, with the hospital. You don't want none of that toxic crap that they're going to give you right before your surgery. So, you might fast, but if you're going to have this Ensure shake, for example, it's really not a great way to prime for your surgery. So if I was you, I would stick to what works, and then fast. It's up to you. You could fast for a day, but I don't really see the point, because you might be out for a little while. I would get the nutrition in, build your strength up, and then just communicate. You're allergic to seed oils, you're allergic to different sugary substances, all this kind of stuff they put in the Ensure shake, so you don't have to take that. And that's what I did. I ate right up until I didn't need to. I was pretty much empty by the time they performed the surgery, and I didn't eat a single thing that the hospital offered. Nothing off the menu. So if you can as well on your recovery, obviously stay at the hospital as long as you need to, but also get out as quick as you can. And in the meantime, if you've got sort of loved ones or relatives, someone who can bring you in some better food, stuff that's not coated in seed oil, stuff that's not sugary and processed, that's also going to help big time.
That's brilliantly.
No prebiotics needed, by the way. Absolutely no prebiotics needed. No probiotics, no prebiotics, nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? They are pushed and pushed and pushed, but they're not necessarily that great, because it's got to get through the stomach acid for a start, which is a pretty acidic environment. So, good answer. I thought some of the other guys might be on, by the way, who are going to be talking about the Carnivore conference, but I don't think they're going to be. So it will be a short one tonight. Matthew O'Malley is asking. Actually, there's a question before that. Let's do that, because I'd like to do it in order. Zinc, do you add full fat Greek yogurt to your daily meals? I'm thinking of including again to gain some weight. Well, it'll certainly gain you some weight. I keep it out if I can, because I don't like the sort of weight it gains. It's not muscle, it's not bone. I tend to get a bit blobby around the stomach. That's what happens, even with milk. So for me, dairy, if I want to look really sharp, then I'll cut the dairy out. But dairy is one of those things. Oh, by the way, I've noticed I'm quite red. I did use the Derma roller before I came on, by the way, the thing
right.
Dr. Abs recommends. So I'm trying that. I did it today. So by Saturday, the redness should have gone down. I've just spotted that.
Actually, because I've got quite a lot of scarring from eating plants. So you can't see it. I'm always in a nice position. But I've got quite a lot of scarring from acne. I don't really break out so much anymore these days. Obviously, that's all changed since Carnivore. I used to have a lot of acne in my back. But I would be interested to try just to see if it reduces the scarring, just out of curiosity.
Yeah. It's quite a surprise, because I've done it now. I think it's the 4th time I've done it. And for those that don't know, it's tiny little needles on like a little barrel, which you roll across your skin, pull your skin tight. And I did it downstairs in a different mirror, and because I like to watch where I'm going. And even that change, I didn't realize I was pressing harder. So when I came up and looked in the normal bathroom mirror, which is much more illuminated, I thought, wow, what have I done? So you do have to be careful. And anyway, where was we? Oh yeah, talking about yogurt. So yeah, yes, Greek yogurt. But yes, if you enjoy it, it is better than not being carnivore. But I think if you're looking to gain weight, you're probably better to stick with muscle meats and essential fats. Tallow and lard and butter, although that's dairy as well, but it's not so bad as yogurt, and just gain the weight that way, more on your muscle mass and your bone density rather than sort of around your midriff. So should we go to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you, Lee, actually.
Yeah. So you can stand over.
I think this one is interesting. Is there any danger from cooking your meat at 125 degrees rather than 145? And because it's a USDA guideline, I thought I'd look it up. according to the USDA, the safe minimum internal temperature for cooking whole cuts of meat like beef, pork, veal, and lamb is 145 degrees Fahrenheit, 63 degrees centigrade, followed by a rest time of 3 minutes. This standard ensures that harmful bacteria are destroyed, making the meat safe to consume. Cooking meat to only 125 degrees would not meet these safety guidelines. At 125 degrees, the meat may not have reached a temperature high enough to kill all harmful bacteria, increasing the risk of foodborne illnesses. So that's what the FDA would say, or the USDA would say. Because we all know that people like their steaks almost mooing off the plate, and they don't seem to be doing that badly. I know there's a huge following for a guy on Instagram who's spent hundreds of days eating raw meat, and then even now eating raw chicken, which we're not recommending, by the way. Just telling you for information and educational purposes that that has been done, and that person hasn't died. I've definitely eaten raw liver. I've eaten raw mince. Of course, it's a cuisine that the elite eat, you know. So take that how you want to take it. What would you say, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in France skiing, I mean, I've had tartare, carpaccio. There was a time where they had this like bone-in ribeye, and they didn't want anything in seed oils, and so they just put it straight in the grill, and it was literally done. That's it, you know. And that's they served me that in a restaurant, and so I've not had any issues. I mean, I've eaten pig brain raw. I've eaten pig brain. I've eaten pig kidneys raw. I've eaten pork. I've even tried chicken just because, and I've not had any problems. I eat blue red meat every single day. But you know, look, if you're concerned and you're a bit worried, perhaps get into the diet a little bit more and then back off the cooking, and the fact that you would have been eating the right things anyway, your stomach acid will be where it should be. So if you did consume some of this stuff raw, our stomach acid is so low that really all of that stuff's going to be killed. You know, I mean, we used to be scavengers. We could literally walk around and find a bit of prey on the floor and take some of the bone marrow, take some of the flesh, walk away with it covered in muck and dirt. We'd hang it over a tree. We eat the lot, you know. And so I think that we've been lied to about absolutely everything, because I've not been sick. But again, not medical advice, and you know, just be comfortable, do what you're comfortable doing. But I think that's a load of nonsense, especially when it pertains to red meat anyway.
Yeah, that's great. Let's just have a look at Beach Hut Man. The traditional food pyramid has been etched on every kid's brain for decades, so it will take a lot of deprogramming. Yes, that's why I was saying I'd quote exactly from the USDA guidelines, because I'm just trying to be conscientious of how the brainwashing is put out there. Right, knock strength. My 6-year-old daughter Lily has just deadlifted 20k. She wants to know if this is good. She's in year 2 and wants to be carnivore in year 3. Well, yeah, that's great. That's a good weight to lift. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Obviously, you know, you've got to be careful with your form. Your bones are still developing, and your joints, everything's still developing at that age. So just make sure you eat enough protein, recover, and all the stuff that we're supposed to say. But I know that you're just asking, do you think that's a good weight? Yeah, that is a fantastic weight to lift. Should we go on? Yeah. Right, knock strength again. Oh, well done. You're getting in there with your questions. If you want to jump the queue, you can give us a super chat, by the way, which is always helpful and supports me to get a light. To light up my face. Right. Knock strength. Should you take fermented cod liver oil with a meal, or 2 hours or more later, so it doesn't compete with absorption? Which is a good question. I've actually been taking the fermented cod liver oil with butter, by the way, which is a Western A price thing. And I would say it's probably better to take it. Well, firstly, if you're taking a vitamin D supplement, I would do them at the same time. If you're not taking a vitamin D supplement, you're just using that. I would take it in the morning. Personally, that's what I would think. You can eat it around meal times, but I just think getting up first thing, getting it into your system is not a bad thing. Do you have any take on that at all, Lee?
None whatsoever. I've never even considered it, to be honest with you. Never considered fermented cod liver oil. Now, why is that? Why are you experimenting with that?
I used to think cod liver oil was great, but of course it oxidizes too easily. That's a problem with all fish oils, although cod liver oil is slightly different to most of them. But the fermentation process stops a lot of the potential for oxidization. So it was worth trying. I took it for a long time, and then I've done a vitamin D test, and I should have the results of that next couple of days. And I want to see, because I'm reverting back to what I was talking about, the Carnivore conference, about bloods can be very misleading. My vitamin D allegedly is suboptimal, and always is, even at the end of winter, even at summer when I've been sunbathing and playing football outside and all this. So I thought what I would do is I would take the cod liver oil, see if that increased. I know it's got vitamin A more than vitamin D. I would take that, see if it increased my vitamin D levels, see if it changed anything in my joints, which didn't do, to be honest. It didn't do anything. I didn't feel any different. But I'm going to be really intrigued to see what the bloods say, because that is my particular area of interest in this way of eating.
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Yeah. Cool.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Okay. Can a person with low iron bruise easily after donating plasma, or could it be a bad phlebotomist? Yes and yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I used to pride myself on taking bloods and not leaving a bruise, but doesn't mean everyone can do that, and doesn't mean that every time I did it, I managed to succeed. In a decade of doing private bloods, only 3 people ever fainted, and they were all vegans, by the way, just a sort of bit of trivia for you. But if it's at the site where the blood was taken, then you could probably bet it's the phlebotomist. If you've got bruising in other areas, then I would get yourself checked out just to make sure it isn't anything particularly serious. If you do see bruising on your body that can't be explained, there are things, especially if you've got a lot of fatigue and you've got a lot of bruising, then you do need to get a full test done, because there are things that would not be particularly nice. Doesn't mean it is something really bad, but yeah, if it's where you've had the blood taken, it's more than likely just the person taking the blood, which is a great question, really. Right. Yeah, we're going to get through this tonight, mate. Dutch Carnivore. Hello, Dash. I can't do a Dutch accent. But anyway, what you think, see, I read it as it's written, all right? So what you think of reduced vitamin C needs on Carnivore in relation to blood glucose levels? What if they are good, but not optimal, like in type 1 diabetics? More competition with the GLUT4 transporter. Well, this is a big topic that I'm actually covering at the conference, because there's more to the vitamin C demands than just competition with the GLUT4 transporter. I'll give you a really simple one, maybe hooking back to what the last question I was asking about with iron, for instance. So if you eat a lot of non-heme iron is the ferrous, the iron you want to absorb, but you eat ferric iron, Fe, the Fe comes in from the plants. You need an enzyme called vitamin C reductase to break down that ferric iron into ferrous. It goes into a divalent metal transporter, I think it's called DMT1. Anyway, and that allows your iron to get into the cell. So to do that, when you're eating lots of fruit and veg, you need a lot of vitamin C. Well, if you're eating heme iron, you don't need that. You don't need that at all. So that is where I'm going to talk about these sort of things at the conference, because if you're told you need X amount of vitamin C, that's based on people eating between 40 to 65% carbohydrates. Therefore, a lot of their iron would be coming from non-heme iron. Therefore, that vitamin C reductase enzyme would need a lot of vitamin C. So if you're not eating those non-heme iron things, you're not going to need that much vitamin C, are you? Simple as that. Then when you talk about diabetics, yes, the GLUT4 transporter does compete for glucose, and also vitamin C uses the same transporter. But if you've got low levels of blood glucose, then there's less competition. And also, the last thing is there is vitamin C in red meat. Sorry, Lee, I'm monopolising it, mate. You jump in.
Well, look, I was just thinking then, don't we need vitamin C. So, for example, if we're on a vegan diet, we're not eating carnitine, but I believe we need vitamin C to help synthesize carnitine. And so, because we eat carnitine, because we eat red meat, we actually have a vitamin C sparing effect because we have carnitine already via the red meat, rather than synthesizing it and using vitamin C. And so we save some of that vitamin C as well. I think, is that true?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's holistic, isn't it? The whole thing, because a lot of the recommendations, if people are going online, will see that red meat allegedly has no vitamin C. Therefore, we're going to be short of it.
Yeah.
So I think chasing numbers, it's a good question, but I would go with how you present. Actually, I'm going to broaden it out. And if you have bleeding gums, for instance, or you look anemic, or you have a collagen issue where you feel very stiff, then maybe you need a bit more vitamin C. But that doesn't mean a vitamin C supplement. That does mean, well, are you getting enough fresh red meat? Because they used to cure scurvy with fresh meat. It wasn't the fact that people were eating meat that was helping them. It was the freshness that actually made a difference. So,
I had a massive surgery without any vitamin C supplementation, no plants. And so you think there can't be a vitamin C issue. I mean, I've healed lovely at the front, so it's got to be plenty, isn't there?
Brilliant. So we've got some super chats. We'll get to yours, Ribeye Rob, in a minute. Carnivore Muscle. Who's your favourite carnivore bodybuilder? Oh, that's from Carnivore Muscle. I don't know. I can't remember. Is it Jimmy Griffiths or something? Jimmy? Something like that. And then we've got another one there, another £2. Who's your favourite carnivore health specialist? Well, who's yours, Lee?
Peter Griffiths, is it? Peter Griffiths?
Yes, the Griffiths twins.
There's too many to say one. It depends what mood I'm in.
Yes, good questions. Real Eye Rob, thank you for the continuing support. £5 super chat really does help. People don't think it does, but it really, really does, especially when you shadow banned on YouTube. Like I say, I need to buy a light. Looking at my camera, it's really struggling. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I've been shadow banned and I down a third views and everything. But anyway, right, Rabbi Rob, tip for anyone facing a hospital stay: buy some boxes of carnivore bars so you have top nutrition while you're there, avoiding all the hospital slop, which is really true, actually, isn't it? I mean, hospital food. if you eat hospital food, you end up in hospital.
You never get out.
Even longer. So yeah, I think that's a good tip, Ribeye Rob. I like that one. Let's get into the next question, unless you've spotted one. Tom is saying about the meat, it absolutely could be safe enough with lower temperatures than recommended. You just have to keep it at that temperature longer. Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking from experience. I eat raw stuff. I eat the mince raw sometimes with just a bit of butter, and it's beautiful. And I would say that this is the best bit of advice from Andrew Scarborough: make sure the meat is not alive before eating.
So that's the lions.
Right. Trying to get used to this. I was asked earlier today why I am doing my reps slow. I replied, why are you doing yours fast? You see, this is it. It's how you look at things. When you're training, slow, good form is definitely better than absolutely banging those reps out and using momentum. But there you go. Let's have a look. And we've got Skulls Bells. This has been the best leg day ever, listening to you all, you fine gentlemen, talk about learning a ton. One more set of Bulgarian split squats. Lol, thanks for going live, guys. That's all right. That's appreciated. The answer to the favorite carnivore bodybuilder, Jeremiah, is saying it's Jonathan Griffiths.
That's the one.
Yes, Jonathan. I knew it was that name, something like that. PR1 Assist is saying, where can you buy carnivore bars? You cannot get them in the UK, but you can get sort of equivalent things. Mason Survival. I think Mason does some, it's Michael, isn't it? Michael Mason does some sort of beef jerky. It is a little bit expensive, but it is fantastic. It really is worth the money. It's top quality as well. Lee has some blue light protectors on. Is that to save him from Stephen's blue light background?
Exactly that. Yeah. Any blue light. Absolutely.
Right.
Probably still got a touch of light out there, but it almost looks pitch black to me from in here anyway.
So I was deliberately going to say this wrong. I was going to say Polish Mike, but it's Polish Mike. We don't need vitamin C because proline and lysine are already in hydroxylized form in the meat. Yes. So that's how it all works, fellas. Tom J is saying that the carnivore bar equals pemmican. Make your own. You can make your own pemmican. And I think there's a guy coming to the carnivore conference, sorry to keep talking about that, who does just that, but also sells it to the public. So that would be really good. Right. Now then, we've run out of questions. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yeah. So Lee, what's coming up on your channel, by the way? Any particular videos you're very proud of?
I've just posted one just before coming on about sort of gut health. What I basically thought I'd talk about IBS because IBD, I haven't talked about it for ages. So I thought I'd touch on what I was eating before. Thought that might sort of gain some attention. What I ate before I lost my colon. Oh, okay, let's have a look. And hopefully reach some people. In terms of other projects, I run out of things. Usually I've got quite a few in the mix. Sort of one I've edited. I'm making a thumbnail for another. I've kind of wiped myself out, so I'm gonna have to start thinking. But really, I suppose on my mind I've got the conference, and that's about it. Really, I'm thinking about that, and so I'm not worried about getting another video up. But yeah, I always try and sort of go on YouTube and get inspiration. I'll find one video and think, I haven't made a video about that specifically. And then that's when I'll explore sort of in more detail. And then all of a sudden, that's when I find all these new videos I've never stumbled across, little gems, things that haven't even got that many views with great information. And then sometimes I will compile different clips and things like that, or sort of just gather information, write a mini script. And because I've obviously got a feature, haven't I, as much as possible. So narration and that kind of thing, I quite like that because I get to edit and be creative, and then I can just narrate over the top. I find that quite enjoyable, really, the whole process. But yeah, I'll have to start coming up with new ideas, really.
Yeah, I like your channel. I mean, I like the way you do it. We have got a question, so we'll cover it. What are your experience with dry aging meat? Mine are fantastic. About 3 weeks ago, I had a 28-day aged ribeye on the bone, which is possibly the best meat I've had in 5.5 years of being carnivore. It was absolutely stupendous. And I got that from a butcher in Wirksworth, just up the road from me. So an artisan butcher. And people say, wow, it's a bit too expensive, isn't this? Well, that is expensive. That is an expensive cut. And but it was worth the money, actually. And I don't eat loads for the rest of the day. So is it expensive? I'm not eating 3 times a day. I'm not eating cereal. I'm not buying lots of stuff to go with it. I'm not buying loads of fruit and veg and watching it rot and throwing out. I'm actually eating it. So do you go for the dry aged?
Yeah, I go for dry aged. Yeah, that's pretty much all I get, really. Grass fed, dry aged, anything. I love T-bones at the moment. It's my absolute favourite. I went in there today and he brought out the whole bit, so you got the bone ribeye all the way to the end of the sirloin type of the T-bone with the fillet on there and that. But yeah, that's my favourite at the moment. They've got some really lovely fruity fats, that yellowy fat with the tail on the bottom. I'm like, don't cut that off, because they always go to cut it off. If they don't know me, they start to clean it up, trim it. I'm like, please just leave it exactly as it is. He's like, I was just going to, no, just put it on the scale. I'll pay for it. But yes, it's like the best of both worlds. You've got all that fat of the tail in the ribeye. You've got this nice bit of gristle now that I love to chew on, and the sirloin. And if it isn't quite fatty enough, I'll have a dollop of butter or a couple of raw egg yolks, and then that does me. But yeah, so only really dry. I don't think I've had any wet aged, to be honest. Although I suppose all of the supermarket stuff's wet aged, isn't it? They just seal it and then just let it sort of age within the packet almost.
Yeah, I think some of the artisans actually expose it to the air to allow some evaporation. I think that's more sort of artisanal, and that moisture then evaporates. So, for instance, he said for another cart, he said, "That's very black, isn't it? Do you mind having that?" And I went, "Oh yeah, that'll taste really good," because it was out on display. We're not talking oxidization. We're talking about sort of the way the meat actually still has that in there, still has that fluid in there. So someone has asked, what is the I'm going to get into that question then. So what is the purpose of dry aging? Well, you get this very enhanced flavor. Okay. You get that sort of unique taste. It's a different taste that does come actually from sort of this puts people off. We're too sanitized. We're too clean about everything. There's molds and bacteria, but like cheese, you know, there's molds and bacteria in it as well. And you get these different flavors, and it can be really good. And also what happens, it becomes more tender. So the enzymes that are still in there start to break down, and it becomes even nicer to eat. If you're not convinced, get some really expensive dry aged meat, just a small amount. If you can from a butcher, that would be better. I'm not anti the supermarket, as Lee said. Probably what happens in the supermarket is they have like a big environment where it is exposed, and then they just wrap it and stick it out. So like Morrison's is pretty good. I've got no affiliation with Morrison's. They just are very good. So you get flavor, tenderness, and you get different tastes. So that's good. Ribeye Rob. Well, maybe we should stay on because we're getting some super chats, which is really helpful, especially when we're not working that hard and working on presentations and stuff. Rabbi Rob, I hope you've all seen Professor Barr and Edward Goek's latest takedown of Dr. Allo and Joel Kahn. Both videos are excellent. That's really fortuitous because Edward is coming onto my channel to have a chat, which is really good. I've not seen the one that you're talking about. I'm sure it's full of wonderful pleasantries about the great information from Dr. Allo and Joel Kahn. Joel Kahn is an idiot. I'm sorry, but he still thinks that Ansel Keys is fabulous, and he isn't. He really isn't. Yes, he did some good studies. The thing is, right, if you're a genius in one field, it doesn't mean you're going to be a genius for the rest of your life, and it doesn't mean you're honorable for the rest of your life. You can make mistakes, and money will change people. And you know, Joel Kahn will. I think he wrote the biography of Ansel Keys. Now, yeah, he might have been really good. He might have known what to do, but he certainly had his head turned by money. He definitely had his head turned by money, and he. Joel Kahn's defense of the 7 countries, there was a 6-country study and a 7-country study. There was 2 studies. The fact that there were actually 22 countries looked at, but only 6 or 7 used, which fitted the propaganda. Did I say propaganda? Fitted the theory that he was putting forward. And he left out all these other countries. Well, his excuse is, well, we had a lot of people working for him. Well, if you're the lead author, all right, if I was a lead author of a paper, and we're going to let Richard come on in a second, but I'm doing a Richard Smith. I'm going to finish before I get him on. If I was the lead author and Lee was my researcher and Richard was my researcher and Ben was my researcher and Sylvie was my researcher, Jonathan was my researcher, I wouldn't just go, oh, thanks for all your details. I'm the lead author. I'm just going to trust what you say because my name's on it. And I would make sure that everything was correct. And I thought that was a pitiful thing that he puts out there that, you know, it wasn't Ansel Keys' fault. Well, it is. I'm sorry, but it is. Your lead author, you should know what you're doing with the data. Anyway, right, enough of that ranting. Richard Smith has joined us, the UK's top nutritionist as seen on TV, the Keto Pro, professional bodybuilder, organizer of the Carnivore conference, and a very shy, unassuming man who doesn't talk very much. Richard, how are you?
What a perfect description. Yes, very well. Thanks, gents. You?
Yeah, good, mate.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you.
Fantastic. Apologies. Yes, I've been sidetracked in preparations for the Carnivore conference this weekend, having to tie up lots of loose ends this end in regards to business and things. But yeah, looking forward. How's the live been?
Bit quiet, but also busy at the same time.
Yeah, lots of views, but everyone's stunned into silence. They're too shy to ask a lot of questions, I think. Right, once a week man has got a question. Can we buy Keto Pro electrolytes at the conference?
Yes. How's that for a short answer?
With pleasure. Exogenous ketones.
Yes.
That was special. That I had that one in 500 milliliters of water. Just tried it. I was like, wow, that's incredible. That stuff. Yeah.
Brilliant. Which one was that? The
raspberry. It was a raspberry. Yeah. I've not tasted anything like that for so long. It hit my palate like a bomb. It was like, wow. But the effect afterwards, I did feel very relaxed, very focused, very sharp. So good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. brilliant stuff. So the raspberry bomb, I call those my game day ketones because that's how powerful they are.
Yeah.
For the carnivore community, they do contain stevia, so they're what I call like strict keto stroke carnivore, because there is a crossover between becoming strict keto and carnivore. I use them, and I regard myself as being a strict carnivore. But it's the only time that I do. I've gravitated away from the flavored electrolytes, even, which I do in a cherry berry and a lemon orange. So as you know, we've got the unflavored, which is one of your faves. That's what I've got there. So I drink that now, and I've come away from the stevia in those. But the raspberry bomb, it's an incredibly strong supplement. Which floods the body with ketones, gives this incredible focus and mental energy as well as physical energy. It gives you all the benefits that living the lifestyle does, but enhances it further so you can outperform, in whatever task it is you're doing. So I'll be using these at the Carnivore conference just to make sure that I'm 100% focused and engaged, and can pull all of these big words out of the hat that I can't normally pronounce. But they do contain stevia, and they contain stevia because beta hydroxybutyrate tastes absolutely disgusting, and it's a difficult compound to drink without adding some sort of flavor, and they're incredibly expensive. So in order to produce them on a mass basis, it's so expensive that I can't afford simply to do the raspberry bomb in an unflavored. But there are an unflavored alternative in the BHB in the tubs, which you can just scoop in for those who wish to use those. But most people who get those tend to add them to the flavored electrolytes. So
Right.
Brilliant. Can we just say, Ribeye Rob, thank you for the super chat. Richard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. And you've got a question here, actually. Hello, does Keto Pro ship to Toronto, Canada? Tried to order, would not let me complete the transaction.
Do you know, Canada is incredibly difficult to ship to. I don't know why. I think it's something to do with the laws in Canada. It's very, very difficult to get things into the country. Electrolytes, for example, I know in Canada over a certain amount of potassium is banned in most products, so it's got to be below a certain amount per serving, and ours is well above that limit for potassium. I know that there's other laws in regards to other things. Canada is a tricky one. We are having lots of difficulty shipping out there. We are working on it. I don't know how we're going to get around it currently, but we are thinking maybe Amazon potentially, but leave it with me. It is a massive bugbear because we do have a big following in Canada who ask an awful lot for our products, and it's a shame that we can't currently ship there, but I am working on it, I promise.
Yeah. Now on the screen for people listening on the audio, they won't see that it's 3 days, 14 hours and 9 minutes and 20 seconds to the UK's first Carnivore conference. So I'm going to thank Richard for putting this together with Ben and Sylvie, because it's a big deal actually. And I just want to show people how easy it is to navigate the website, because it's just so simple. Yes, there are the sponsors: Keto Pro, Real Food Company, Mason's Meats. But incidentally, we mentioned all those things. These are not paid productions, or promotions. It's me talking about what's happening. I don't get any backhanders from any of these people. And the British Broth Company. And you can see on there the speakers: Richard, Dr. Abs, Lee, some idiot called the UK Carnivore, Heather Foley, Phil Scott, Ben Hunt, Jonathan Griffiths, and Dr. Anthony Chafee. It's right in the middle of Britain, right in the middle of England there. That's why it's called the Midlands. That's where I live, around that area. And see, if you scroll down, it's so simple. Look, you can either pay for the conference only, plus meals, or you can have a day pass. So if you can't do Saturday, but you want to do Sunday because you want to see Dr. Abs, for instance, then you can do that. Although it doesn't show you Saturday and Sunday as a separate thing, when you click on that button, you will choose either Saturday or Sunday. So you can pick straight away. And it's really simple. If you've got any questions, info@carnivoreconference.co.uk. Now, this time next week, we will not be plugging the conference because it's once a year. So if you're fed up with hearing it, I do apologize. But how are you feeling, Richard? Because you're the person that's, really putting this together. What do you think?
Look, it's a team effort. Everyone is working incredibly hard for this, but this is going to be the Woodstock of conferences within the carnivore community. You know, these things are big in the States. This is the first of its kind in the UK, and everyone that comes to this is going to be glad that they did, and it's going to give them bragging rights moving forward. We've got some incredible speakers lined up, people I regard as top speakers in the world. Within the ketogenic and carnivore community. We've got Anthony Chaffee zooming in also, and we've got many big influencers within the community attending also. So, you know, come along and speak with those, network with them, speak to myself, speak to you guys, because we're there all weekend to be approached and to speak with. There's no VIP section. We're going to be there with everybody else, mingling and talking away and answering all of your questions. We're trying to build a community. The carnivore community. You know, I've felt isolated for many years within living this way, and this is a means to bring us all together and to be part of a tribe. Will there be? There won't be, but you know, it's if once a week, man. I think you're booked in to come. I may be wrong, but you'll be surprised that there are goodies there. I'm not going to give too much away because I'll be told off, but. The goodie bags are absolutely incredible. Two of the sponsors which we haven't listed there are the Pemmican Project. So we're going to have pemmican samples there also. And what else was there? We've got something. There's lots coming up, but yeah, I'm not going to give too much away. If you want to find out, you're gonna have to come and see what's there. But incredible lineup of people, incredible lineup of speakers, and I cannot wait. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just for the audio people, they didn't see the question. Once a week, man was asking, will there be a conference T-shirt? But maybe there will be afterwards. I mean, I've got my own merch store. I could do one. We could all do one. I went to the Carnivore conference and I survived. I got out without being told off by everybody. Andrew Scarborough is saying, is clothing optional?
Is Andrew coming is the question. Be great to see Andrew there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Also, what you failed to remember there, gents, is you both have codes for discounts, which are currently available off those prices as well. So the just to reiterate what is available there. So it's what are we $199 for the day tickets only, but this includes meals on both days. So it's lunch and dinner on the Saturday and breakfast, lunch and dinner. If you stay over on the Saturday night, so if you book accommodation, there are still some rooms available. Check out the website for availability there. The day tickets, there'll be no breakfast involved for those, but you can come and go. That's $199, not including the discount you guys are going to give. Who's they choose to promote, I'll leave up to them. But there are rooms available. There are still a few rooms. The Cliff College where we have booked this they've made more rooms. There's basically rooms there which are not usually let out, which they have opened up, especially for us, because we've sold every other room in the college, which is absolutely incredible. So it's been a sellout, but day tickets and some accommodation still available. Camping is also available, so you can camp up, you can romp up. Camping is incredibly cheap. It's £26 a night. And you can camp up, and you also get breakfast with this also, and the meals which are available, which are all carnivore meals. But yeah, I'm absolutely super excited, as you can tell. Exhausted, but super excited.
Yeah, carnivoreconference.co.uk. I want us to end on a contentious issue. I really don't want to do this because it's right up my street, this. Sorry to say, I really hate this nothing is too expensive mentality. Meat to caviar wire. You can find century-old menus where coffee is 5 cents and steak is a steal at a whopping 10 cents. The three of us on the screen, I promise you, there's not a rich person on the screen. There really isn't. I am 60. 4 years ago in the restrictions, I lost 90% of my income on my second marriage. I'm not asking for a violin to come out, by the way. One car, haven't been on holiday for 5 years. Seriously. So we're not rich. But when I said about a dry aged steak, that was a treat. That was a treat. And my birthday money, I got £50 off my father-in-law, and I went and bought steak. The rest of the week before that, I would have had a lot of ground beef. And if you look at what I eat in a day, you will see that I always talk about budget, because I live on a budget, and I find Carnivore has lots of savings. So, I don't have to buy any tablets. I don't have to buy any paracetamol. I don't go to the doctor. I haven't got any medications. 10 years of no medications. My clothes, this shirt is about 10 years old. I've got 3 or 4 shirts just hanging up there, and I don't have to change them. T-shirts, they're smelly and horrible, but they still fit. So there's lots of things about Carnivore where you're not spending money. So I know what you're saying, and you're not really saying that we're going on, no expense spared. It's all really easy. I do get that, but I think we should talk about this. So yeah, the Carnivore lifestyle can be expensive, and it can be budget driven. It really can. And you're going to be healthier whichever way you do it. Ground beef with some eggs is a beautiful meal, and there's not much preparation. You don't need loads of utensils. You don't need loads of preparation. You don't need to buy 6 or 7 different veggies and chop them all up and do this and do that. And 85% of the world's food waste is plant material, is vegetation. Right? There's not much waste in this way of eating as well. So that's just my 2 pence. I don't know if you two want to add a bit. We've got 2 minutes to go.
I just prioritize red meat. That's what I spend my money on. If you looked at my bank account right now, you would just see butchers, Gap butchers, mortgage, bills, water, butchers, Gap butchers. That's it. I haven't bought any clothes since I've been Carnivore. No shoes, no holidays. Yeah, I keep it simple, but I prioritize. And so I understand that I do pay for high quality meat. And when I'm not flashing it in front of people going, ha, I didn't create a YouTube channel with that motivation in mind. I created a YouTube channel to help and encourage and inspire people. So, and look, I'm sure if you just stumbled across my channel and you browse my videos, you might think like, wow, he does well. And a lot of people will say, oh, that window cleaning job. The window cleaning job, I'm self-employed. I pay all my tax. I pay 100% of my tax, right? I declare the lot. And I work off of 65%. I work for a company, even though I'm self-employed. So I don't make a lot of money. I also had to take 3 months out of work to have my surgery, and my money went don't. And if anything, if you looked at my bank account, you'd probably feel sorry for me. So but I'm just doing my best to live my life and to help other people live theirs as well.
Yeah, I echo that. I'm actually overdrawn. So it's I'm well overdrawn in my current account. Meat for me, living, eating costs me around £60 a week, and this feeds 3 people. So it's £60 isn't an awful lot of money. It's pittance really when you compare it to an average shop where I used to spend around 150. Meat isn't as expensive as you think if you build up a good relationship with your butcher. Mince is incredibly cheap. We can get chuck steak, which is half the price of rump. And if you buy in bulk, then you tend to get this a lot cheaper with a butcher. Not to mention organ meats, which are ridiculously cheap. But I don't spend an awful lot. £60 a week feeds me to no end. If we look back to the way that I used to live, I used to buy a takeaway that would cost me £30 to £40. And we don't argue over spending that on a takeaway or going to Domino's and buying 2 massive pizzas for like 40 quid or whatever it may be. 60 quid will see you through comfortably if you make good relationships with a butcher, and provided you don't prioritize expensive meats. Lots and lots of high quality cuts available with your butcher, which are considerably cheaper than the fillet and ribeye that everybody tends to go on about. Chuck steak is one of my favorites. Incredibly nutrient dense, ridiculously cheap, and it's incredibly fatty, which is fantastic for me because I love eating the fat.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's a real shame that we can't get to this last thing about 3 millimoles blood and 5, because it's very interesting, because Dutch Carnivore is talking about the solute, the concentration of a solute in your blood, and it depends what you're measuring. And as a phlebotomist, I could have gone on about this for a long, long time, but we're not going to. Maybe next week. I just wanted to say we've seen your question or your comment. So Richard, Lee, I'm going to meet you in the flesh at the weekend. Can't wait. Richard, I'm going to meet you in the flesh on Friday. And that's going to be fantastic.
And Lee also.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll be there.
And for those that book tickets, we'll see you there. Come and make yourself known. I don't think we're having name tags. I think somebody did possibly want that, but there you go. And I want to thank everyone that's watched on YouTube. Make sure that you like and subscribe and comment and share, because those things are going to really help the channels going forward. YouTube will be pushing videos less on views and more on engagement, to the point where some of their videos won't even say how many people have viewed it. They will be actually first and foremost how many times it's been liked and commented on. So if you can like and comment and add another comment or reply to a comment, share it to somebody, it would be really, really helpful for all three of us on the screen. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we shall see you soon, either at the weekend or next Tuesday.
Awesome.